Hey VC, how's it going? Right, we're back in the Vinyl Community Pub. I'm John, 6 inch Penis 3019. Once again, I'm joined by my mate Headley, another fat bearded man talking about records.
Hello, John. Good to be
But
back.
yeah, but we're also joined, Headley, by two other reprobates. We've got Digital Gramophone John. Hey John,
Hey, how's it going?
how you doing?
Hey, John.
And we've got Local Bandography Dave. How you doing, Dave?
I'm outstanding.
Good. And I tell you what, extra points for you, Dave. Double points for you for wearing a Birmingham band T-shirt, Napalm Death.
Oh, that was purposeful.
Good man. I like that.
Yeah, it's one of the last bands I just saw live here in Charlotte.
Okay.
So, and it was an interesting gig because, their political stances and everything, and playing here in the South, I found it interesting that it was a sold out show. And then when they got going and talking about what they wanted to talk about, a few people left.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Quite
In a set
interesting.
list of 30 songs, they were done in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, they killed it. Yeah, speed demons, these guys.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've never seen them, I must admit. I know they are local, but I've never seen them. But yeah,
They were great. They were absolutely killer.
it's a
Yeah.
little bit heavy for my delicate ears.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good. No, I'm impressed though. That's double points for you. Right. Okay. So we're in the pub. What's everybody drinking? John, what are you drinking there, mate?
I'm drinking a Kolsch.
A what?
A
Oh,
Oh,
Kolsch.
yeah.
Carolina
K-O-L-S.
Brewery.
And it's
Nice.
from Carolina Brewery. Sky Blue Kolsch is the name of it.
It's got
Um,
the enemy's colors on it, though, man.
and I'm drinking it out of a mason jar because that's what we
Oh,
do.
right. What about you, Dave? What are you drinking there, mate?
I got a pork chop in a can. So it's a big ass Modelo in my common market koozie. Got to have a koozie when it's this hot down here
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So
for
that,
your.
that keeps it cool. We don't
Yeah.
normally need those sort of things here because it's
No.
normally,
Yeah.
absolutely freezing, but it's warm at the moment in Headley.
I don't know. It's a bit hot up here at the moment.
It is, yeah. Bit too hot. Bit too hot. We're not used to it. What about you, Headley? What you drinking, mate?
Well, I was talking to the landlord, and he got in a load of Guinness
Yeah.
when Mazzy was in, and he
Yeah.
just didn't get through them. So they were doing two for the price of one. So I got a couple of Guinness
Happy
going
days.
cheap.
And I'm drinking a Brewdog Pinball, which I got for Father's Day last weekend. So my 8-year-old son bought me some beers.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
And
part of the course in Birmingham.
yeah, I've just noticed that this is 8%, which is a little bit strong for my liking.
Oh,
There
this
you
is going
go.
to be a good episode.
Oh boy.
There you go. Right. Okay. So you know the deal. We're in the pub. You get two plays for your dollar or for your pound, Headley. So yeah. So who's off? Sorry, John. You start off.
No, okay.
So what have you got for us?
All right. Well, it was hard this time around to decide what I was going to bring, what I was going to select from the jukebox.
Yeah.
Lately, though, I have been diving into these compilations of Loma records. I picked these up last year. I got all 4 volumes in the used bin,
Right.
just
Oh,
sitting
wow.
there waiting for me. And they're like a compilation that was put together by Light in the Attic, but also like kind of a joint venture with Rhino, because it's Loma was owned by Warner.
Okay.
And they were basically, the Loma label was Warner Brothers' first venture into kind of the singles market.
Right.
Because up until that point, popular music for them, or music in general, was really their first kind of big success was Sinatra and Reprise, I guess. And so they hired Bob Krasnow to run the label, and his kind of whole thing was R&B. So it was mostly they would buy the rights to smaller kind of projects, and then they would distribute them like
Yeah.
on
Right.
Loma. They had a few of their own recordings, but I think mostly it was like acquired stuff. Now, you guys, Headley and John, might be more aware of this label because of its connection to Northern Soul. And that's kind of how you see most of these around and about. That was really my only knowledge of it
Okay.
when I picked up these comps. But yeah, so none of them really sold a ton in America. And then you only really had like Ike and Tina were really the only huge artist, on the label. Some of the other ones were Linda Jones had like kind of the one full LP that they released. Carl Hall. Do you know Carl Hall?
No, I don't know. No.
Okay, well, that's the song I'm choosing.
Go on then.
And it's let me pull out the thing. It's called You Don't Know Nothing About Love.
Okay.
And if you just kind of have that song on in the background, this might be a actual personal story. You might just think, wow, that woman has a crazy strong voice. And then you look and you're like, oh, it's Carl Hall. And then you kind of hear it in the second go round. But we want to talk about at 11, like right from the get-go, like just a gut-punching soul tune, pleading. You don't know nothing about love, and it sounds just like that. But it's an excellent record. It's gonna light the pub on fire, I think.
Man, I want to hear that because I don't know that song at all. I don't know that
Yeah,
name either.
I wonder which one I could have picked that you might even have. But and I didn't want to ruin it. I didn't want to reach out to you ahead of time and say, "Hey, John, do you have this for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
your needle drop or whatever?" I didn't want to
So I
ruin
have
it.
the Linda Jones album,
Yeah,
the reissue. Yeah, it's a
big
great
want.
record, and I have a couple of 45s by her on Loma, but I
Yeah,
don't have much else. I think I might have a couple of Ike and Tina. That's about it. So, but I do remember those comps coming out, really nicely done. But I don't have any of the comps either, so that's probably why I haven't heard the tune that you're talking about there. But
Are
yeah,
the
I wanna hear
original are
that.
the original singles hard to find? Are they rarities now, or are they, can you find them?
I mean, I don't think you see them much in stores.
Right.
You don't, but you can go online and you can buy them fairly affordable. I think probably the more popular ones, probably some of the ones that have already shown up on other like Northern Soul compilations and like called that, probably go for more. I haven't even looked into the one that I chose and like what it goes for, but yeah, it's just it's a powerful song.
You'll have to send me a link to this stuff, John.
Yeah. Oh well. I'll
Yeah,
have
I
to send
love
them to
that.
John apparently too. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
what do I know? You know what I mean?
Don't
Yeah.
worry, we'll shove the tunes in when we put this
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Unless,
Yeah.
of course,
Oh, shoot.
it's some idiot chooses the Eagles and we can't put it on.
Oh, who would
Right.
do that, Headley? Who would
I
pick
don't
the
know who would
fucking
do that.
Eagles?
Oh, I might have one of those later.
When the nighttime comes, do your tears fall like rain? And in the morning, do they start all over again? Tell me, do you get down on your knees and pray that she'll never, 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 never go away? Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing about love.
Right then, Dave. What have you got there, mate? What have you got for us, Dave?
All right. We're in the pub together. I want to make sure I'm taking care of my hosts properly here. So I'll start off with a great roots reggae tune.
Oh, here we go.
This is from a New York-based group from the '70s called the Black Eagles, and this is their 7-inch, which has a single from 1977 that ended up on their only LP in '78 called "Warning." This is "Peace of Mind" is the cut. off
Look at
the
that
A side
label.
is
Look at
what
that
we're gonna
label.
play. Yeah, and they put these out themselves, so this is on Black Eagle Music,
Right.
and the B side is the dub version. Hold on a second here. I've got. Can you still see me on this thing?
Yeah. And we can hear you
Okay.
loud and clear, yeah.
Somebody's calling me, and I don't know how to see myself again in the thing.
Just answer it, Dave. Let's see what they want.
Well, it's my dad. I don't know. Maybe the
Get
house
him
is
on. What
burning
would he
down at home.
choose?
How do I get back on this stream? You can edit this later, right?
Mate, I might
see
do
you in
if I can be bothered.
Hold on. All right.
Nope.
All right. There we go. I'm back.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Big Jim was giving me a call. I don't know why. He never calls. Right in the middle of my shit. Anyway, so this is the Black Eagles. It's pretty dope. It's a big group. The band is great. The vocalists, I think it was started by Denroy Morgan is the guy's name. There's some interesting names of guys in the group. Devin Ego Levy Foster, one of the vocalists, and Llewellyn Jati Breadwood. And then the other Breadwood brother, Balford Breadwood, was on drums. But the drums are killer on this. But I had to get this from the UK.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so this was ordered. This was on Discogs, which I loathe Discogs, and this is one of the reasons why I loathe Discogs. This guy that was selling this record had 2 copies, and that right there was a bad thing, because I looked at it and it's like he had one in one condition with writing on the cover, and one in much better condition with no writing on the cover for a cheaper price. So I got the one that was more expensive because it was in better condition, and he sent me the one with writing on the cover in worse condition, and then tried to say, I can't find the other copy. And then as soon as that happened, he took down the other listing, and it didn't show any other sales.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
a really bad thing for us, isn't it, John? That's typical of the British. Scam artists.
Yeah, just trying to rip off the Yanks all the time.
I know.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, they just shouldn't be so gullible.
So it's it's not the best copy in the world, but it still jams. But
Yeah.
I had to leave that guy some feedback that wasn't pleasant.
Wasn't pleasant, no. So how did you hear about that record, Dave? Because I've never heard that either. So you both turned up with soul and reggae tunes, and I haven't got a clue about either of them so far. So yeah. So how did you come across that one?
I figured I got it from you, man. You don't know the Black Eagles? I don't know where I got it from. I was going down a rabbit hole of reggae for a minute, and I must have just stumbled on it then.
Right.
Never seen water without shame. Never seen smoke without fire. Because peace of mind is all you need. Yeah, it's all you need. Self is a factor of peace of mind. You got to say yourself to show your true identity, because peace of mind is all you need for light in this world, yeah, for recreation.
Okay, right. Now you'll like this, John, I think.
Yeah.
So we've got
Well,
3 Minute
there you go.
Heroes by the Selector,
Oh, great.
which I just love the Selector. Great stuff. Do you know? I mean, this was what, 1980. This was one of the earliest sort of hit records of the 80s. I think it was a sort of February release in 1980. But it's just one of those great. I mean, it's a great song about the drudgery of life, and then just giving it all up for a moment to be able to have that kind of just. I mean, it's not even the 15 minutes of fame that Andy Warhol went on about. It's the 3 minute hero. It's like it's even less, But yeah, I just think it's wonderful. Great B-side as well, their version of James Bond. But yeah, do you know about how the Selector started, John?
So they were on the flip of Gangsters, weren't they?
That's right. Yeah, because the first track was called The Selector, which was written by Noel Davis, who went on to write. Well, he wrote this, and John Bradbury, who was went on to be the bass player. Oh, sorry, the drummer. In the Specials.
Yeah,
and so it was originally called Kingston Affair, and they wrote it together, and this double A side came out, which then the success of it meant that he kind of had to create a band around that one song. Almost like it was, Stiltskin. Do you remember Stiltskin from the Levi advert? That some session guy writes it in the studio, and then they go, "Oh, could you do us an album?" Oh, all right then. Are there any other? I was trying to think of any others that were a bit like that. That was sort of engineered, but anyway, So they then released only the second LP that the Two Tone label put out. They only put two LPs out. The first being the Special, and then the second one being Too Much Pressure,
which is a great LP. It's a brilliant record.
Yeah, I have the Specials 12-inch here somewhere.
Yeah, and I find it interesting because the Specials, I mean, their stuff is shown quite a lot in the VC and quite a lot by the American VCs as well. It's not just us local here, So it's just amazing how that music travelled around the world, really, because it's such a specialised, a specific thing, It's
even I have that record.
Yeah, well there you go.
Yeah, the two-tone label
has it. Look at that
sweet label. Yeah.
But I thought that's a killer tune for the pub jukebox. I think
it is.
Yeah, great selection.
Proper banger that is, Headley. She's got a great voice as well, Pauline Black. She's now. Yeah.
It's. I mean, they didn't last long. I think they went from like 79 to 81. Initially, so really short period of time, unfortunately. But they're one of those bands that they have different versions. They're the one with Pauline Black. Fronting a load of other players, and then Neil Davis. I think it's spelled Neol. I don't know if that's Noel or Neil. But sorry, that really didn't need to be said, did it?
It's cool.
I apologise.
I enjoy the various spellings of people's names, Headley.
This is the VC spelling bee.
Very good. Right. Okay.
And Discogs review.
What was that?
It's the spelling bee and Discogs review version of the Vinyl Community Pub.
I told you that's what you get for drinking 8% beer. That is,
I love Discogs. I have no problem. I found this guy in America that was going to buy this reggae record from me. I sent him a shitty one.
They asked you if you're all right. You say yes, but all the time you know it's a mess. It's 5 p.m. and you're on your way home. Just another day with that endless great drum. 3-minute hero, I wanna be. 3-minute hero, I wanna be. 3-minute hero, I wanna be. 3-minute hero. Drag yourself along the road. Sit on the bus. Switch on your transistor. Cause it's a bus. It's 11 p.m. and you're on your way home. Just another night with that endless red drum. 3-minute hero, I wanna be. 3-minute hero, I wanna be. 3-minute hero, I wanna be. 3-minute hero.
Right. Okay. My go. Right. So, John's already mentioned Northern Soul, so I thought I'd open up with probably the most famous Northern Soul song of all time, and that's "Tainted Love" by Gloria Jones, which was originally a B-side. The A-side was called "My Bad Boy's Coming Home." Came out in '64, and obviously wasn't a hit anywhere in the world. It was a total flop. Nobody knew anything about it until it was picked up again by the Northern Soul lot in the early 70s. So Gloria Jones, she's quite interesting because I think her vocal on this is absolutely fantastic. It's, whether it's Northern Soul or whatever, it's one of my favourite soul R&B tunes. I think it's absolutely perfect. And her vocal on this is brilliant. But She re-recorded it in the mid-70s. Obviously, when all this attention came her way via the Northern Soul thing, she re-recorded it. She put out an album. She re-recorded it for the album, and the album was produced by her husband at the time, Mark Bolan. And obviously, everybody. It's quite unfortunate, really, because everybody knows Gloria Jones because obviously she was married to Mark Bolan. She was driving the car, obviously, when the accident happened, which killed Mark Bolan. But her work as a vocalist, as a musician, was incredible. This is a brilliant single, absolutely timeless, and that re-recorded version, incidentally, is terrible. It takes all the life out of it. Produced by Bolan, it's an absolute stinker. It takes all of the charm that the original has away from it. But I bought this single at the very first Northern Soul all-nighter I ever went to. Right, and I haven't been to many because it's not really my bag, Northern Soul. But in 1997, I went to a Northern Soul all-nighter in Manchester in Prestwich. And this probably says something about me because I remember being there and everybody's in the main room. You got all these people, all this great music, everybody's dancing. And I was in this little room that was on an offshoot of the whole thing, right? Where it's just a few blokes with a few boxes of records of Northern Soul singles, right? And I must have spent hours in there just going through these singles because it was stuff I'd never ever seen before. I couldn't afford any of it, of course. And I bought this that night. And I think this was probably the only record I could afford. It's a fiver and it's a bootleg of Tainted Love, but at least I went away with something, you know what I mean? And I say it's still one of my favourite records now. So there you go, Tainted Love by Gloria Jones. I've never heard a bad version of this song, incidentally. I love the Soft Cell version. I think Soft Cell's version is incredible. They did something really unique with it, something really different. And obviously that was a massive hit all over the world. But yeah, the original's killer.
Well, I didn't know that Bolan story.
Sorry?
I didn't know that Mark Bolan story.
Yeah. So she was married to Mark Bolan, yeah. And they had a child together, Roland Bolan. And that's the great thing about if you were a rock star, you get to name your kid anything random, don't you? Moon Unit, Zoe Bowie or Roland Bolan. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. No, it should be frowned upon, John. It really should.
Sometimes I feel I've got to run away. I've got to get away from the pain you drive into the heart of me. The love we share seems to go nowhere, and I was not right. For I toss and turn, I can't sleep at night. Then it's silent to you. Now I run from you to tell you what you're giving. I give you all, girl, and give you. Take my give, and that's not living. Oh, tell me,
Right then, John, what have you got then, mate?
All right. Well, the one thing, and I've continued to follow the series, obviously, and it seems like with every video, you guys move further and further away from the concept. Okay, guys just show up and they're just like, hey, here's a record, blah, blah, blah. And there's no
hey, don't do impressions of I'm not gonna say it.
there's no context of the pub. Okay, so that's what I'm back for. All right, is to bring some context.
You putting the pub back in the pub. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
This had better be good now, John. This had better be good.
Listen, I don't happen to know if you guys have noticed, but there's a woman over there alone at the bar. And our friend Dave, single man. So we're going to put something on the jukebox to kind of help him out a little bit, okay?
I hate you so much.
All right? That's what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is what happens sometimes, right? When you're out of the bar.
It's rough in the streets.
In my mind, there are three, outside of R&B and soul, there are three love songs that I think are the coolest love songs. And I say coolest love songs, right? And they are Tougher Than the Rest by Bruce Springsteen, This Must Be the Place by Talking Heads, the only love song that David Byrne ever wrote.
Mhm.
And this is where the hot take comes in. Right Down the Line by Jerry Rafferty.
What about that guy?
I mean, look at that sleeve. I love the way you
I
got a
mean,
picture on
listen,
that.
this song is so fucking cool. And one of the reasons why is because he is not.
Yeah, that hairstyle, that's a panty dropper and a half.
You ever seen some of the live performances from the BBC? I mean, the guy was amazing. But no, in all seriousness, I love this song. It's got all the sentimentality in the world, like really kind of sappy, beautiful lyrics. But it's just that perfect little guitar line, his like delivery. And when Dave goes over to the bar, he's not allowed to say woman, okay? Because we all know in the song, he says woman, but he says, how does he say it, guys? You guys can do it better than I can. With the Scottish accent. Woman, woman.
Well, Bob,
You don't even know what I'm
we're
saying.
Scottish, man. We're English, aren't we?
Huh? I know, but you
English,
can come closer to that accent than I can, right?
You're just tarring us all with the same brush, aren't you?
The only way an American ever says woman is not in a charming way. Okay,
Are you trying to get my ass
usually
kicked
end
in
up
this bar?
like on the couch, on the curb, or at the pub with their friends. That's usually what happens. But he gets away with it. He gets away with it. So there you go. There's the one you're not going to be able to sample.
We need to cut in Jack from the Vinyl Voyage now, just to say,
Exactly.
just to say
So he
woman
can properly
first.
do it.
John,
So
what
he can
label
properly do
is
it.
that on?
Huh?
Is that a United Artists?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the
Dave, you don't
actual
know
record
this
look
song,
like?
Dave? Dave probably doesn't even know the song. It's a little too popular for him, I
I
think.
might have heard it in the past.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. Everybody's heard the song.
Yeah.
I wouldn't count on it. I don't think I'd say. Yeah, I'm only familiar with his Humble Bums period with Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Right Down the Line.
I mean, he had an incredible career, really, didn't he? The Humble Bums, then he went on to Steelers Wheel.
Yeah.
And then the solo stuff as well. So when he died,
City to City's a good record too. It's a good
album, yeah. It's a good album, yeah.
Record, like the whole thing.
But when he died, there's a big thing. So he was still earning around $100,000 a year from Baker Street in royalties.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Just that one song,
Just the one. Yeah.
Was that just from Spotify?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so yeah, he's quite ill, wasn't he? At the end, he was alcoholic and
not good.
Grim stories that you heard at the end, but yeah.
Keep it light,
Bring
John.
it right down. Bring it right down.
You've got to point out the dangers of drinking, just to make sure that people don't take the same road.
Not on this channel. That's not what.
No, I agree totally.
It's a public service that we're offering here, John.
All right, Dave. Well, he died. Go get the digits from the lady over there.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave. So we left the choice of song to John. So sorry about that, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all are drinking the wrong stuff.
I need your love. You got that hold over me. Long as I got your love, you know that I'll never leave. When I wanted you to share my life, I had no doubt in my mind. And it's been you, woman, right down the line. I know how much I lean on you, only you can see. The changes that I've been through have left a mark on me. You've been as constant as a northern star, the brightest light that shines. It's been you, woman, right down the line.
All right. Am I up now?
Yeah, you're up. Yeah.
All right. So, I had to bring some reggae for John, and then I was thinking about, okay, what kind of country singles do I have? if I wanted to play something that Headley might enjoy.
Right, where this is going, this is good.
But most of the country singles I've found so far are just all Johnny Cash, so that's pretty
That's not bad.
pretty ho hum.
Stuff.
So I thought I'd for some reason the word country was stuck in my mind, so I was like, oh, I'll play this cut. So I have this single from the band Fanny, and it's from 1971, and this is the title track from their album Charity Ball, is the A side. But the A side's a decent song, and it's a rocker. But the B side blows it out of the water. It is Place in the Country. This is one of the most badass rock songs you're ever going to hear in your life. When I first heard this, it absolutely blew my mind. They were one of the first ever all-female bands. They did play in the UK.
Yeah.
They were really trying to, tour and get popular, and they had a lot of different things happen to them along the way. But this group right here was incredible, and there's a video for this song that they did in Germany, and it's on YouTube, and it's got one of those blue TV backgrounds.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Check out that video. And the sisters started this band in California, the Millingtons, Gene and June. And June's the guitar player, and Gene was the bass player. They're Filipino Americans. There's openly lesbian members of the band. The lady on drums, Alice DeBoer. And then the piano player, Nikki Barclay, was absolutely incredible. And she was also one of the vocalists. Just absolutely incredible band. And the guitar licks were on par with anybody at the time, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, this Place in the Country tune is what's up.
Yeah.
Really dig this band. There's a great documentary that was just on PBS about them.
Yeah.
Which is where I didn't even know they existed until I saw that.
No, it's great that they're finally getting some recognition, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's funny because I have this local record store here in Charlotte, Repo. And whenever I hear something new that's old, or I get into a different genre, I go in there, and there's still stuff that he's got in there that's sat in that shop since the 80s. And he's got these drawers full of 7-inches. And I was like, let me just for shits and giggles let me go to the F's. And there it was, a mint copy of Charity Ball with Place in the Country on the B.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm jamming for my final tune in the pub. This should get the whole pub going here.
Well, we need something to pick up the mood, don't we? After John's track.
Yeah, and the other thing is Gene, for a time, the bass player, she dated David Bowie.
Okay, yeah.
And David Bowie, there's an article, and I forget what publication, he mentioned the band Fanny very highly as being one of the most underrated bands in the world. And so, Bowie was a big fan of this band. They paved the way for a lot of female artists today.
Were they able to tour when they toured and they came here? Were they able to tour called Fanny in the UK?
Yeah.
Wow. I can't imagine. I mean, we're talking early 70s, aren't we?
Yeah, and the doc talked about having that term, how it's perceived in the UK was a problem for them.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Because
they did a split flexi disc with the Rolling Stones. It's got Exile on Main Street on it, and on a B has got a Fanny cut. I have that too somewhere.
Because we always laugh whenever Americans talk about having a fanny pack.
Oh God, we make fun of them here.
Yeah.
Those are hipsters here.
Yeah, but
well, it works the other way as well, because there's a famous brass band called the Black Dyke Mills Band, and when they toured America, they didn't call themselves the Black Dyke Mills Band. They called themselves the Yorkshire Brass Band.
Did they really?
God.
What? It went that far? That's amazing.
That's funny.
Very good, Dave. I like that one.
They must have not known what our term for a brass band around here then.
Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to play that cut on the channel. Reprise Records?
Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah.
You think you'd be able to play Reprise? Zappos
the only
go
problem
to
we
Let It
ever
Happen.
had was when some idiot picked a fucking little song.
Okay.
But that aside, Dave, we'll be fine.
Listen, you can say whatever you want, but you've been dreaming about Waffle House ever since.
One day I'm gonna make it over there. I'll meet you in Waffle House. You know,
That's right.
We got to take him to Rock Store Barbecue, man.
Yeah, sure, that too.
Yeah.
In Noble. Yeah.
He's not just coming over here for one restaurant outing. I think it'd be a waste of
that'd be a few
flight fuel, wouldn't it?
Yeah, do a long weekend.
I was trying to tempt him by showing him those R&B bins in Noble right now.
I know, yeah. John sent me a brief video last night of him flicking through the R&B bins in Noble.
Oh, really?
I just thinking, I just want to be there just to go to that one myself, you know.
Standing on the hilltop, wishing on a quick start in a mist all around me. Got to make a rest stop, wonder where my friends are. It's about time they found me. Well, I'm caught in the middle of a shooting war. Can't even gather what I'm fighting for. Hate to imagine what they got in store. Somebody put the heat on me. Who could it be now? Who could it be? Stranded by the seaside, waiting at the hot tide, taking a short vacation. Waiting through the hot crowd, laughing at 'em out loud, crying desperation. Well, I'm caught in the current and I'm going down. Ain't got a will and I'm about to drown. Hope they can forward all my plans to town. Somebody wants to blow my mind. They're doing fine now. Doing so fine. All I need.
Go on, Headley, what you got for us, mate?
Right, seeing as Dave failed me with his country track that isn't really country, I'm going to have to go country on your asses. So
Yeah,
I'm going to have some Waylon Jennings, "Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line,"
Nice.
Heck
which
yeah.
is a great track. 1968. It's that period of time when they didn't know what to do with him. He was starting to get pissed off with the kind of the Chet Atkins wanting him to be. They kind of had him as a folk country guy for a long time, and I don't think he really liked that. And this is one of the more rocking kind of earlier tunes that kind of gives you an idea about where he was going to go. But it's a funny thing because it's not the first time it was recorded. It was recorded the year earlier by a guy called Jim Alley, who was Charlie Louvin's bass player or something. I played him in his band anyway. And Waylon heard it, or I think he'd heard it and gone, "Oh, that's a great tune. I want to record it." But he then bitched about having to wait about another year before he recorded his own version because he didn't want to feel it like he was doing a cover version. So he left it a year and then released it. And it went to number 2, didn't get to number 1 because of bloody, what was it called? Harbour Valley PTA. I love Harbour Valley
I
PTA.
do as well. I do.
Yeah. But but it didn't get there. This is actually, I don't know what the date of this is. It's from the late 70s, I think. It's a reissue. But it's backed with his version of Brown Eyed Handsome Man by Chuck Berry, which
Nice.
that's a pretty good double A side.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the original B side. But I mean, I love this sort of stuff. It's before he became the whole outlaw kind of stuff, there are some interesting things, and this is one of the best ones I think he did at the time. Well, 68. So so there you go.
Yeah, I dig Waylon Jennings, man. My mom, the first music I remember her playing was old 8 tracks of Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson. That's what we had in the house.
I'll tell you the amazing thing is, if you look through his early out, he doesn't write much. He really doesn't write many of his own material. But the ones he does on his albums are the hits. Really? Are you sure Hank did it this way? And very, always been crazy. So the big ones he actually wrote. It's kind of, you go, why wasn't he writing more? I'll tell you why he probably wasn't writing more, because of that, But
the drink.
It's easier to get someone else to write your album for you.
Well, maybe by today's standards, he was writing enough, but for those times, he wasn't writing fast enough, so they had to send in the hired hands, to fill out a record.
I think the album that's from is called Only the Greatest, and it's full of things like Harlan Howard songs, and it's one of these weird things. There's no one quite sure who wrote this. It says on the album it's written by Jimmy Bryant. On the single, it was written by a guy called Jimmy Bryant. but it sounds like the guy who recorded it first, Jim Alley, sold it to Jimmy Bryant, and then he's put his name to it. So I think that sort of stuff happens far more than we ever imagined within the industry of people buying the rights to songs, and I suppose at least they buy them, I suppose. Unlike AP Carter that just went around writing his own name on all the traditional songs.
Yeah, right.
It's a murky world, isn't it? Music publishing,
It is, yeah.
It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
And because country music is talked about and lauded for its stories, but the people that we celebrate aren't even the people that wrote the songs.
No.
So it's like, unless you're like Headley, who knows even more than I do about like probably some of the writers behind the tunes, like we don't celebrate them, enough, honestly.
No, and also I've got a really interesting book called Rednecks and Bluenecks about politics in country music, and it talks about it's this weird thing where all the executives and all the writers and a lot of the studio musicians are all lefties, and then they're producing records for a right-leaning audience with right-leaning stars. It's a very weird thing. That's the thing. Country is all about authenticity, but it's completely fake and false. Yeah. All the way from the beginning, when Roy Acuff dressed up his band in country sort of, hillbilly outfits, it's all a big ruse, the whole thing,
Yeah, exactly.
Did I see you pick this one up the other day or recently?
I've got it. I didn't pick it up the other day, but I have got
that album as well.
I thought you picked up one the other day. Yeah. That's a good one.
It's a good one, yeah.
I think the big hits on that are the ones he wrote.
This is the one I really like.
That's the classic one, that one.
Yeah, I got this from
Billy Joe Shavers. Apart from the We Had It All, which is kind of like incongruous. It doesn't really fit on the album.
Yeah.
They panicked. They wanted a hit single, and they weren't willing to allow it the Billy Joe Shaver stuff to be released really as singles.
Gotcha.
But Waylon Jennings, Headley, is pretty consistent with his output up until the sort of late 70s, wasn't he? You can pretty much buy any Waylon album up until that sort of point, and they're all pretty solid, aren't they?
I have a bit of a sweet spot in the mid 70s where he kind of loses it. Too much of that phased guitar, which I was never a big fan of. And then you get into the 80s, and I've got loads of his albums from the 80s, and to be fair, they're okay, but they've just got no passion in them. He's going through the motions, really. And each one sounds exactly the same as the last.
But isn't that the problem with just the 80s production sound? So which classic country singers or country artists made good records in the 80s?
Johnny Cash. I like some of his 80s stuff. I do, yeah.
Is after he was dropped by Columbia, so he was. Did he go to MCAD or something like that?
No, it was. Oh gosh, I can't remember now.
On the 90s, what do you want to
begins with M. Mercury.
Oh, he went to Mercury, did he? Okay.
Yeah. No, some of those are really good. He was revitalized a little bit, but yeah, no, you are right though. I mean, but then I have this big thing that there are very few artists that were big in the 60s and 70s that they brought out the synthesizers and the drum machines and the big production, and it just doesn't fit, But the music that was coming out at that time, it fits with perfectly. And sounds great. I don't really. Having said that, in the 80s, you get the beginning of the new traditionalists, where they're going back to their roots, and they're suddenly going, oh, actually, and then unfortunately that spawns Garth Brooks. But let's forget that.
But that's only the same thing as with soul and R&B singers. Those great singers of the 60s.
Yeah.
Once they got to first of all, they had to navigate disco, which was a fucking nightmare for a lot of them, because, and then you get out the back of that and you've got the whole 80s production sound. It's like another world, isn't it? There were some great records made by those artists at that point, but, it wasn't necessarily a comfortable time for them,
No, I think there was a lot of the older artists that didn't really, they felt, there was that need to feel that that retro sound now, we love records from the 60s and 70s because there is something about that. And that was something that you had to go through that period of the 80s of overproduction and trying to update people's sound to be able to then come out the other side and go, no, actually, we're perhaps onto something with these early early recordings.
It wasn't so bad for rock musicians, I mean, Paul McCartney made, No More Lonely Nights, and the Beach Boys made Kokomo. I mean, they all just sailed through it, didn't they?
I mean,
maybe saying that because I'm a big fan of No More Lonely Nights.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I actually like the film. Give my regards to Broad Street.
No, you don't, Headley. You don't like the film.
Telly, and I used to watch it over and over and over again.
You don't like that film.
I had the computer game. There's a computer game of No More Lonely Night. Give my regards to Broad Street. Rubbish, absolute rubbish. But I don't care what you say, John. I like that. I like that record.
Wow.
I keep her working every day, all you wanna do is play. I'm tired of staying out all night. I'm coming unglued from your funny little moods. Now honey, baby, that ain't right. 'Cause ever since you were a little bitty teeny girl, you said I was the only man in this whole world. Now you better do some thinking, then you'll find you got the only daddy that'll walk the line.
Come on, John. What are you going to give us?
Right. Okay. I'm going to finish up here. Right. So I always hark back to this sort of period, late 70s, early 80s. That's my sweet spot for pop music, which I tend to go through at a pub. And so I'm going with "Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick" by Ian Dury and the Blockheads.
Oh, here we go.
If ever there was an unlikely pop star, it's Ian Dury. Obviously he had polio when he was a kid. He was clearly a disabled man. And for a while there, he was a proper full-on pop star, wasn't he? I don't know what sort of number this got to in the chart, but it's certainly a top 5 hit, I imagine. I mean, it was huge. And I remember as a kid, this is one of my earliest musical memories, "Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick." And, it's that sort of period of, I've talked about it before, but, it's great music, but incredibly eloquent songwriters as well. So, Ian Dury, Paul Weller, or Terry Hall. But you pick up records such as this as a kid, and you take it home, and you've got "Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick" on one side, and on the flip you've got "There Ain't Are Some Clever Bastards." You learn a whole new vocabulary, don't you? Just through excuse me, through Ian Dury. But yeah, so the genius behind this song isn't necessarily the lyric; it's the bass line by Norman Watt.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's not Chaz. Oh no, he's the
he's a guitarist. Yeah, it's an absolutely incredible bass line. That's the reason why pub bands don't play. You very rarely see this song covered, and it's not because of the vocal. It's not because of the song itself. It's just because of the bass line. It's an absolute monster of a bass line, and pretty much impossible to play if you can play. If you're at my sort of standard playing a bass guitar, you were never going to attempt that. You know what I mean? So. This is from the second album, isn't it? Do It Yourself, which is the one with the
32 albums, 32 covers of
37 covers. Headley, we learned the other day. 37 covers.
37. Oh, I've only got 32. No, I haven't.
I've
only got one.
Different variations. 37.
It was one of those things that I thought, there's no way I'm getting in on this because it would become my life trying to get every single one. I know Phil Jupiters has a full set.
Them all, doesn't
he? He's a UK comedian and writer, but in fact, he's sang with the Blockheads. I think
he did
a number of occasions.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So apparently, when it was reissued, the album "Do It Yourself," all 37 sleeves is one record, but it's a box set of 37 sleeves. So you just put it in whichever one you wanted, So that's pretty cool, isn't it? But yeah, obviously, it's a massive hit. And as a kid, that was just, just so influential. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, I remember it from a kid because when I was a kid, because it's one of those songs that you have no idea what it's about, but the words hit me with your rhythm stick.
Hit me.
It's just, you just want to sing it, don't you, as a sort of a 7-year-old?
Yeah. Brilliant. There you go.
Do you know the meaning to a lot of songs when you're a kid, though?
No.
Yeah.
No. But if you have a lyric that shouts "hit me," then it's quite it's good fun, isn't it, when you're a kid?
I don't know the meaning of many songs today.
No.
That's not true. Stop.
No, it's true. Me and John agree with this. Actually, we're not words people, are we?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No. I've done quizzes where there's what famous song are these lines from? No idea. Haven't a clue.
So I went on like a radio quiz show just about 15 years ago, right? It's a music quiz. It's quite a famous music quiz on BBC, on Radio 2, right?
Yeah. Oh, were you on there? I
was on Popmaster, right?
Popmaster, were you?
Yeah. So anyway, so it was the week before Joe and I got married, and I called up. I got through, and you had to answer 3 test questions. I got through the 3 test questions, and the guy said, "Oh, we might call you back." And I said, "Look, mate, so I get married on Saturday." I said, "That's why I'm calling." And obviously, they want something to talk about, So, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, we will call you back." So I got on. Anyway, they arranged to call me the following day for this call, and I messaged all my mates. Everybody look, I'm on Popmaster tomorrow, right? So this is a big deal over here, Johnny. It's like 6 million people listen to it every day. 6 million people, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm first up, right? So it's 10 questions, and the way it works, you get 3 points for each question, but 3 of the questions are bonus questions. You double the points, right? So it's out of 39 points. So I go on. And I answered 9 of the questions right. I get 36 points, right? I mean, I'm dancing. I'm loving this shit, right? Anyway, so that's that. So, and the guy comes on afterwards. They play a song before the next guy comes on. And he's like, well done, John. He goes, you nailed that, mate. Fantastic. Anyway, next guy comes on. Everyone's texting me, John, you've got this in the bag. Guy comes on, 39. Out of the bag.
Oh, shit.
And as Joe said, she said, you're only good at one thing in life, John. And you just got beat doing it in front of 6 million people. Thanks very much. So there you go. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, that would be me. I'd be the person that, out of all the questions, the one about country music I'd get wrong.
Yeah.
Guarantee.
I just freeze up. I'm put on the spot. I'm not good. I gotta be prepared, and I'm a complete fraud, guys.
Well, I would have forgotten the girl at the end of the bar already. So you can forget it on that show.
It's all right. You won her over with what's his face.
I've already pawned her off on Mazzy by now.
Yeah.
He's bought a half a pint of Guinness. She's happy.
Deserts of Sudan and the gardens of Japan, from Milan to Yucatan, everyone's every man. Hit me with your rhythm stick, hit me, je t'adore, ich liebe dich. Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me slowly, hit me quick, hit me.
Yes. So, Dave, when I come over to North Carolina,
yes, sir.
I'm okay to stay on your sofa, yeah?
Oh yeah, it's big. It's a big sofa.
There you go.
Plenty space.
Sorted. There you go.
You just got to climb around the records.
You have your own AC unit, everything.
Just got to climb in and around the records. And
John's been in here.
Yeah.
It's called the Ghetto Record Fortress.
I'm disappointed, Dave, that you didn't pick any free jazz.
Yeah, I was expecting to.
I wanted to, and I have them. Oh yes, sir.
Do you get many free jazz 7 inches?
At first,
you need longer than 3 minutes, don't you? Clearly.
Is it like a free jazz 7 inches like disco 45s where you have a part 1 and part 2 on the flip?
No, it's interesting.
I have 2 copies, on the double turntable.
That's right. Yeah.
But when I found out John was coming, I almost just said, "Okay, it's Mats Gustafsson time." You know, you're getting Swedish free jazz ragers only in this pub.
Dave, you get one extra pick for your dollar. What free jazz are you going to play us in the pub?
Yeah.
Albert Eiler Ghosts.
Oh man,
That'll clear it out.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Drop. You know, since we're dropping bombs, we're going to drop a bomb.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, right.
Still not as bad as when we played the Eagles in the pub, though. You know.
Yeah, not as bad.
Oh,
that was in the Waffle House. Somebody had to follow it up. What was it? Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we call it Waffle Butt here, not Waffle House. Waffle Butt.
Now, after everybody had that Twin Peaks sing along.
To be fair, it was just after what's the name, Julie Cruz had died, so it was kind of a homage, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I wasn't thinking it would get everyone down to groove to it or something, you know.
Yet they did. They were all on the tables. I remember it was a glorious time.
They're just thankful that the Eagles had stopped.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
That was another great night in the pub. Good.
Yes, indeed.
Cheers.
Finishing there with some Albert Eiler, which is a first bit of free jazz.
Ooh.
Yeah. All John Digital Gramophone's fault.
Yeah.
I'm blaming John.
Yeah.
Cheers. See you next time.
Take care, mates. Peace.